Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session today, and week 8 of lockdown, and a little bit like Chinese water torture, there's a danger that we're all beginning to feel the drip, drip, drip of the pressure of being at home alone or with loved ones. So it's therefore really important that we continue to look after our mental well-being and just keep on the straight and narrow. And with that in mind, I'm delighted to welcome Cara Moore to the session today, who's going to talk about the benefits of napping. Now, just to be clear, I am a convert to this, so I'm going to be listening attentively to what you've got to say, Cara. So thank you for joining us today. And before we kick off, maybe just a few words about yourself. And if you could just try to identify the one key sort of benefit of lockdown so far, that would be great.
Okay, so a little bit about me, Mark. Firstly, I'm really pleased to be here to be talking about napping. I'm never happier than when I'm evangelizing about napping, because I am a self-confessed nap fanatic, and I am CEO of a business called ProNappers, and we exist to educate and inspire businesses and also individuals into the benefits of proactively having a short power nap during the working day, whether that is working from home or working in the workplace. So that's me with my nap hat on. The lockdown for me, the sort of the, did you say that the benefit?
The key silver lining so far.
Yeah, so the silver lining for me so far has been rather extraordinary, because it hasn't been anything to do with work at all. I'm used to working from home, so that adaptation has not been too difficult for me. And I've been using Zoom for a few years, so that also hasn't been too difficult for me. So I was thrown a completely curved but wonderful ball, in that I discovered love in the time of Corona as opposed to love in the time of cholera. So I've been navigating and learning how to have an online romance. So that's been the silver lining for me.
That's so exciting. It's almost maybe the subject of another Zoom session, but maybe not today.
Okay.
No, okay, that's great. So good luck with that then.
Thank you.
So just tell us now a bit more about napping.
Okay, so there are so many benefits for napping, and I'm actually going to pass the baton back to you, Mark, because you've said you're a nap fanatic as well. What are the main benefits for you that you notice after you've had a nap?
I mean, the key thing is, as I have it as recommended, sort of just shortly after lunchtime. And historically, I usually struggled through that period. So between about 2 and 4, I was like walking through treacle, going nowhere. And I just decided one day about 2 years ago just to have a nap. And the thing was, I kind of woke up after about half an hour, and I was just good to go. I mean, literally good to go until around about 7 or 8 o'clock. So fundamentally, it just gave me more gas in the tank to keep on going. I think that was probably the key benefit for me.
Yeah, and absolutely, it does recharge you, it refuels you, re-energizes you, refreshes you, whichever word works for you. And there are lots of benefits, therefore, around productivity and performance after a nap. So people tell us that they work faster, they work more accurately, they're more analytical, they're more focused, they're more creative, their memories are better. But there are lots of other benefits, which are things like your mood is lifted. So your interactions with other people, with your co-workers, colleagues, your family, all that's going to be, they're going to be better after a nap. And your outlook's better. Your outlook is often far more positive after a nap. So there are lots of mental health benefits to napping.
I think that's one thing when you mention that, because I've always been a stress sufferer, and I've got a temptation to get a bit snappy when I get a bit tired. So I can safely say, and hopefully my wife will be would back me up here, is that once I've had a nap, I'm generally going to be quite calm for the next few hours. So it does keep me stress free as well.
Yeah, and lots of people say that when they've had that nap in the day, that when their working day is finished, they are then also nicer to their families, and they've got more time for their children and their loved ones. So before we just move on to, how do you have this elusive nap? There are two other benefits that I would just like to touch on. And one is that in addition to the lifting performance, and in addition to all the mental health benefits we've talked about, there are lots of physical benefits as well, not least that it helps maintain a healthy immune system, which at this time is so critical. And the final benefit I'll touch on is that it actually supports and helps you to sleep well at night. So we're no different from children, and if we're stressed or we've been overstretched during the day, we find it much harder to switch off and have a good night's sleep. But if we've had a nap in the day, sleeping at night is a whole lot easier.
It's ironic, isn't it? Because I always thought before, well, if you have a nap in the afternoon, it's going to disturb your sleep patterns. But
No.
it's the opposite. It has no relation at all, other than a positive one, that I sleep better.
I'm actually, as we're going to do this, quickly share my screen, Mark. And at the beginning, this is our lovely, colourful napper graphic, and we'll put a link to it in the Zoom. But this shows your circadian rhythm, and it shows you that actually between 1 and 3 in the afternoon, we have a natural sleep urge, because we are actually biphasic sleepers. It's in our DNA to sleep twice a day. So we're only listening to our bodies and what our bodies are telling us to do.
That's great, isn't it? I mean, it's and that's one thing which I didn't think about before, is the fact that it is a natural thing to do, to have a nap a day, and that's the body's telling you that. So why not listen to your body?
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Yeah, so I know. So I mean, it's great, and I think that the question that I've got on my lips right now is that at the moment, quite a lot of us are basically sort of in self-isolation, and I'm guessing that if you're going into the corporate space, trying to persuade people of the benefits of employees taking naps can be quite a sort of difficult ask. Whereas you think that now, because we are self-isolating, it must be the time to try things out at least. Would that be right?
Absolutely. And even before this, many people would say to us that if they were fortunate enough to have 1 or 2 days a week when they worked from home, that they would nap, and they would notice all those benefits that I talked about earlier after their nap. But then on the days they went into work, they still had to abide by, and this is my favorite phrase, the pernicious and pervasive power through paradigm that we're trying to shift. So what I'm hoping actually, that one of the legacies of the lockdown, and I know this is how you like to finish the call, but it feels relevant to say now, what I hope is one of the legacies is that more and more people will be napping regularly during their day, and that when we do go back to the workplace, that the demand for employers to embrace napping and provide some nap-friendly spaces will actually be driven by the employees.
Yes, fantastic. And I do hope so, really hope so. So listen, okay, so what would be great, as I'm a convert, you're not trying to persuade me, but what would be the kind of the step-by-step approach to taking that afternoon nap? So just take the viewers through, what do we actually do?
Okay, so the first thing to do is to think about where you're going to nap. So ideally you would be lying down or semi-reclined, and that could be anything from a chair, a sofa. Please do go up to your bedroom, but don't get under the duvet. You don't want to be too warm and cozy, so just lie on top of your bed and pull a cover over you. By cover I mean just a light blanket or a fleece or something, because you want to be cozy, but you don't want to be right down under the duvet. Or some people say that they roll out their yoga mat and just lie flat on the floor like that. So think about where you're going to nap. So that's the first thing. Where do you nap, Mark?
Well, I nap in we have a little TV room. I've got a very sort of comfortable sofa, which is semi-reclining. So, and it is my chosen place for napping. Yes, and I can close the doors, completely quiet, and nothing's happening around me.
So I think that's another point, that a lot of people do want to feel private when they're napping and they're going to shut the door. But I would absolutely say, tell people that you're going to nap. Don't hide and pretend you're doing something else, because you should. I'm hoping that people are going to become proud nappers. So we talked about where you're going to have a nap. Then the second thing is noise. Not all of us are fortunate enough to be able to have complete peace and quiet around. So you can go down one of two routes. You can either go for noise cancelling headphones, or you can actually listen to some your headspace, or to some meditations, or to some calming music, whatever it is that will help you to sort of switch off your mind. So that's the noise. And then the third thing are light levels. So yes, if you can draw the blind, please do. But if you can't, then I recommend having an eye mask. And I've got my favourite eye mask here to show you. They are available on our nap store, because on ProNappers we have.
Wow, how colourful that is.
So this is a beautiful one, and it's a Morris & Co print, but it's also got a lovely smell, and it's velvet, and it's padded. And
wow.
My son gave it to me for Christmas, and it is my best Christmas present. So you use an eye mask. And then the other thing is aroma. So we get a lot of signals from the things that we smell. And I know you've got one of our inhalers, but oops, upside down. This is one of our inhalers. If you show the
that's right. And it's a double nostril thing. Is it just go for both?
Yeah, just in through one nostril and then in through the next. And it's a bespoke blend that we've designed ourselves at ProNappers of 3 aromatherapy oils. Unlike a nighttime aromatherapy product, which is really just designed to get you off into a deep, long sleep, the 3 oils that we've got, 2 of them are designed to help you drift off and quieten your mind and help you relax. And then the third oil is what we call a kicker oil. And I don't know how it works and why it kicks in later, but it really does work. And you wake up feeling refreshed and raring to go.
So I've got just a couple of questions. The first is, when I tend to go down, first of all, for the nap, my mind is racing with the thoughts of the working day. And I tend to find that I'm not able to basically go off for any period of time. So in terms of how long for the whole experience, how long would you expect to be a kind of asleep or in somberland? What would you say?
So the ideal length of being actually asleep should be no more than 20 minutes, because then you're still in the lighter stages of sleep, which will give you all the restorative benefits you need. So some people may need 5 minutes to drift off into their 20 minutes. So your whole nap time might be longer than 20 minutes. But I can, and many others as well, will experience the benefits of even having just a 10-minute nap. But no longer than 20. And if you might sleep for longer than 20, then you need to set an alarm.
No, that's good news, because I tend to have 10 minutes of my mind is still racing. And then I've got about 15, 20 of I've gone a little bit, and I do have the ability to kind of to wake up and go again. So that's not tricky for me. I don't need an alarm, really. And the one thing when we had the pre-call sort of a week or so ago, is that when I first started, even at home, going for my nap, I would say to my wife, I'm going to do some strategizing. And it was my way of saying, look, I'm going to go for a nap, but I don't want to say I'm going for a nap because I'm a bit embarrassed. So what would you say about that?
So I think the biggest thing that stops people napping isn't where to go or not having, is the stigma. But it's not the stigma from other people. It's also the permission that they give themselves to nap. So that's another piece of our work at ProNappers, is just educating people about, you're doing something really, really good. It's not just physically good for you and mentally good for you, but your mind continues to whir away subconsciously whilst you're napping. So that often people report to us that when they wake up from their nap, they have the clarity of thinking that they didn't have before. They've solved the problem. They've got the answer. They know exactly what to write in the email. And so your mind is doing really good work whilst you're napping. So you need to really believe it, and then give yourself that permission that you absolutely are using time and not wasting it.
Yes. No, I mean, I'm just sort of writing down, scribbling down furiously some of the things you're saying, because fundamentally, and I mean, I don't mind admitting this, is when I wake up in the mornings, I am already looking forward to my afternoon nap, because it's a joyous experience. And I'm a hard worker. I'm not a lazy person, but for me, it's a real highlight of the day. And some of the tips you've given on this call will make it even better, I think, going forwards. And I think this is very, very pragmatic. So there's no reason why viewers, you can't try this tomorrow afternoon at 2:00. This is my suggestion.
And put it in your diary. Put it in your diary as a meeting with yourself. And when people say to me, oh, I haven't got time for a nap, I've got too much to do. And I know that feeling of too much to do, because bizarrely in lockdown, I have got a really troubled and difficult relationship with time, because I feel like I've got less time than I've ever had before. And yet I prioritize my nap, because people that say to me, I haven't got time to nap, usually the way that they continue to power through their seemingly endless to-do list, and we know that you never get to the end of your to-do list, is that they go for another cup of coffee, or they go into the kitchen for something else to eat. And if you add up all the time that you spend going for another sugary drink or biscuit or something to eat or drink, you absolutely could have taken 20 minutes, or as I said, even 10 minutes to have a power nap.
No, I love it. And what's been great about this call is that you have explained why I love it, which is the best thing of all. So listen, I think we should probably start to wrap up now.
Sure.
It's great. So it's been super clear, Cara, but and really easy to understand. I get it. But would you mind sort of leaving us with kind of one key thought about what might be a silver lining, either to do with napping or not with napping, that you would like Covid-19 to leave behind?
Sure. Well, I think I alluded to it earlier, which is that I would love more people to become nap fanatics, nap converts during lockdown, so that when we go back to the workplace, they're actually saying to their employers, we need this to be part of our well-being policy. And I think that the other thing that's really happening is that because people are working from home, they're really tapping into the way that they work at their best. And so some people can work earlier, some people can work later. Employers are realizing at last, I think, that if they give people autonomy and they trust them to do what they need to do their best work, that's how they get the best work out of the people. So if someone says, I don't want to go to the gym at lunchtime, I don't need a yoga class, I don't want a fresh fruit bowl, as nice as all those things are, the thing I really need is to be able to go and unashamedly nap for 10 or 20 minutes. That's what I need to do my best work. So just let me do it, and let me do it proudly, and pat me on the back for having done so.
That's terrific. I might go and have another nap actually, but I'm probably not allowed to. So listen, Cara Moore, thank you so much. Cara Moore, ProNappers. That's been great. Thank you very much, Steve, for your time this afternoon. Everybody else, tomorrow at 2:00, you know what you're going to go and do. So on that note, so keep safe, keep sane, and all please keep smiling. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.